Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Remember how we previously reported how many of the people who were associated with the Biden crime family deals, and many witnesses with knowledge of these deals, were either in prison, too scared to speak, or had simply disappeared?
The 9 of the 10 people that we've identified that have very good knowledge with respect to the Bidens, they're one of three things, Maria. They're either currently in court, they're currently in jail, or they're currently missing.
Well, in a crazy turn of events, one of these key witnesses who was missing has suddenly reemerged, and guess what? He's pointing the finger directly at Joe Biden, the DOJ, claiming the Department of Justice maliciously targeted him to protect Joe Biden, and stating unequivocally that Joe Biden and the Biden family are in fact corrupt, and he has all the information. It's like a damn movie plot at this point. You know, actually having witnesses willing to point the finger would have been a leftist dream during the Trump era. They had nothing. Well, in regards to Joe Biden and his criminal schemes, the evidence, the witnesses, the testimonies continue to pile up. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so take a look at this headline right over here. A piece from the New York Post written by Miranda Devine, so you know that the piece itself is going to be absolutely divine. Missing. Biden corruption case witness Dr. Gal Luft details allegations against President Biden's family in extraordinary video. I'll edit down some of the best parts and take a look.
I insisted that the meeting take place in March because at the time there were rumors that Joe Biden was planning to run for president. I saw it as my civic duty to alert the government beforehand and give it enough time to probe the issue. I want to be clear. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I have no political motive or agenda. I did it out of deep concern that if the Bidens were to come to power, the country would be facing the same traumatic Russia collusion scandal, only this time with China. Sadly, because of the DOJ's cover-up, this is exactly what happened. The DOJ sent to Brussels a delegation of 6 people, 2 prosecutors from the Southern District of New York, by the names of Daniel Reichenthal and Catherine Ghosh, and 4 FBI agents. One of them was Special Agent Joshua Wilson from the Baltimore field office, which also happens to cover the state of Delaware. Now you want to ask yourself, why did the government dispatch to Europe so many people? Why 6? Why not 2? The answer is that they knew very well that I'm a credible witness and that I have insider knowledge about the group and the individuals that enriched the Biden family. Over an intensive 2-day meeting, I shared my information about the Biden family's financial transactions with CFC, including specific dollar figures. I also provided the name of Rob Walker, who later became known as Hunter Biden's bagman. Yet, as we now know today from the whistleblower testimony, but perhaps the most alarming information I revealed was of a mole within the DOJ who shared classified information with Hunter Biden and his Chinese partners. I told the DOJ that Hunter was closely associated with a very senior retired FBI official who had distinct physical characteristic. He had one eye. One of the FBI agents at the time even told me, that would be very easy for us to find. There aren't that many one-eyed people in the Bureau. The information I provided the FBI in March of 2019 was fully corroborated 9 months later when the famous laptop belonging to Hunter Biden, which contained all the emails and receipts, was handed to the FBI. And guess who seized the laptop from the computer repair shop? It was Special Agent Joshua Wilson, who was with me in Brussels earlier. In other words, the FBI knew from me about the Biden CFC deals before they got hold of the laptop, way before. They had enough time to investigate the issue, but they didn't. After Brussels, I never heard back from the DOJ, but instead of showing appreciation for my whistleblowing, I became public enemy number one. Over the past 4 years that followed, me, my family, my friends, my associates, we were all harassed, intimidated, and finally, I was prosecuted.
Mr. Gal Luft, who's not just a random Joe Schmo, who's a highly connected, highly experienced, very credible witness, as James Comer points out in his interview on Newsmax.
Tell us about this man. The Post describes him as well-connected in intelligence circles in Washington, D.C., where he ran a think tank, the Institute for the Analysis of Global Security, with former CIA Director James Woolsey and former National Security Advisor Robert McFarlane as advisors. That's who this man is. He's not just some weird guy that popped up out of nowhere.
No, he's very credible, and the people on MSNBC who made fun of me when I said we had an informant that was missing, they should feel like fools right now.
They are fools.
And this is their worst nightmare because, again, this is a credible witness that the FBI flew all the way to Brussels to interview and sent several agents to interview. This is someone that knew about CEFC in detail long before the laptop ever became public. So we feel that this is a very credible witness. We feel that this is someone that we need to talk to in our investigation, someone we will communicate with in our investigation. We're going to request the notes from the FBI meeting from the FBI. That is forthcoming. We want to know why the FBI has never made public this interview. And look, Rob, this is a trend.
Well, this witness is starting to connect the dots. Here are just some of the details. Gal Luft's account of the former vice president's presence at the meeting was corroborated 21 months later when the FBI interviewed another attendee, Biden family associate Rob Walker, according to recent testimony before Congress. Luft disclosed during the Brussels interview that CEFC was paying $100,000 a month to Hunter and $65,000 a month to his uncle Jim Biden in exchange for their FBI connections and use of the Biden name to promote China's Belt and Road Initiative around the world, and that the money was being funneled through Walker. The Oversight Committee has written to Walker demanding that he submit to questioning about his role in distributing more than $1 million from China to at least 3 of President Biden's relatives. He also told the DOJ and the FBI in Brussels that Hunter had an FBI mole named One Eye who had tipped off his CEFC associates, Dr. Patrick Ho and Chairman Ye Jianming, that they were under investigation. Luft is well connected in intelligence circles in Washington, D.C., where he ran a think tank, the Institute for Analysis of Global Security, with former CIA Director James Woolsey and former National Security Advisor Robert McFarlane. He learned in 2017 that Hunter and Jim Biden were being paid by CEFC because Luft was in a partnership at the time with a nonprofit think tank associated with the Chinese company. When Ho was arrested in 2017 in New York on bribery charges, the first person that he tried to call was Hunter Biden, whom he paid $1 million as a legal retainer. But at his trial, Ho was blocked by prosecutors from mentioning the Bidens, according to Luft. Ho paid Hunter Biden $1 million for God knows what, but was not allowed to mention the word Biden to the jury. All the dots are starting to connect, huh? And it starts to make some of these bank transfers, some of these documents that James Comer has been mentioning and releasing, make a whole lot of sense. Millions of dollars being distributed between Hunter Biden's business associates and then various different Biden family members using shell companies. What seemed to be a clear money laundering racket is turning out to be exactly that, a clear money laundering racket. And now here is not necessarily an associate, but somebody connected directly in that world, especially on the Chinese side, pointing the finger saying, yes, that is exactly what was happening. The Bidens were selling access to their connections in the FBI. So these CCP officials would be warned if they were facing heat, investigation, if their names were coming up. The Bidens would leak that information to these Chinese CCP officials as they were being retained for legal matters. At least that was the official cover for the payments. But really all they were doing was corruptly selling their access in the federal government. This is legitimately criminal. The Bidens were doing 2 things. They were helping CCP officials achieve their goals without running into legal issues with the FBI and other agencies, and they were selling policy to foreign oligarchs in countries like Ukraine. Exactly what Joe Biden is on the record claiming he was doing. Joe Biden was essentially in charge of Ukrainian policy. His son was then put in a position to sit on the board of Burisma, and as the former White House stenographer who worked directly with Joe Biden under Joe Biden claimed, or stated on the record, Joe Biden was then ensuring that U.S. federal taxpayer subsidies were being sent to Eastern Europe, of course including Ukraine, for purposes of energy production, and they were getting kickbacks with the taxpayer dollars that they were sending there. They were selling policy, enriching themselves, and selling insider connections and information at the FBI to protect foreign criminals. I mean, this is massive bombshell, one of the biggest corruption scandals of my lifetime, if not the biggest. But the media and all these leftoids still want us to be focused on and outraged over the fact that Donald Trump Jr. took a meeting with a Russian national once, back in 2016. He took a meeting that led to literally nothing. And we're supposed to buy the narrative that the Trump family is connected with the Russians, a corrupt criminal enterprise. Meanwhile, look what's happening with the Bidens. It's unbelievable. Could you imagine if they had this kind of ammunition to go after the Trumps? Every single person even remotely connected would be indicted and most likely charged and spending time in prison. The Bidens, on the other hand, well, the media won't even report on it, meaning there's not enough social pressure to force federal agencies to even lift a finger in pursuit of any of these allegations or charges. I mean, again, I don't know what to say. I keep presenting more and more evidence, more and more information. I'm going to say what I always say in every single one of these videos where we get a new bombshell revelation. How much more is it going to take? Tony Bobulinski, the White House stenographer, former Biden associates, IRS whistleblowers, the FBI document directly implicating Joe Biden and the Bidens in a criminal bribery scheme accepting $5 million, the bank transfers from Russia, Ukraine, Romania, the list goes on and on and on. And now Gal Luft connecting some of these dots, and especially on that connection between the FBI, Hunter Biden, and the Chinese-controlled energy company CEFC. Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and Jim Biden belong in a federal prison. Shouldn't be roaming around schmoozing and boozing in the White House. They belong in federal prison. They're now accused of selling insider FBI information to Chinese CCP officials. It's unreal. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. You know, we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.